Is the stream running? Is anyone here? Yeah, let's wait for a while. Naruto. Yo. Yo, what's up, Naruto? Lord Kira. How was your dinner? Did you guys have your dinner? How was it? Was it good? Was it delicious? Could it be better? Mine was good. I had a good dinner tonight, and I didn't eat fruits. I mean, just a bit of watermelon. But I could have ate a lot more fruits. I didn't eat that. Where am I from? I am from Indore. So I had a meetup 2 days ago in Indore itself, and people joined. There were a couple of people who joined, and it was good. It was a decent meetup. It was yesterday. I mean, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was the meetup. Sunday. So I had a good experience. I mean, it's not the kind of it's just like a casual, a chit chat. Nothing special. It's not like there was some sort of event or something. But yeah, it was a good experience knowing people. Some of them were really good artists there as well. So, anyways, since we are here, we wanna go through the project. So today, oh, what's your good name? What's my good name? It's Gurpreet Singh. If you wanna call me by my full name, but generally at my home, my family call me by the name Lucky, and that's why the Studio LKY, Studio Lucky. So that's the reason. But anyways, whatever, whatever is easier for you. So yeah, today's or tonight's live stream is mostly gonna be about me going through the recent project that I completed with PS Rathore. So there were when I uploaded the story, there were a couple of people asked me that they want to know the details about how did I make the entire animation, because the transition from 3D to hand drawn is like is a bit abrupt in the story. If you have seen, it's like what's going on, why all of a sudden, like how did you make it? So I'll try to go through it in tonight's stream, and I'll tell you a bit about compositing. How did we composite it? We don't put a lot of effort into compositing, not because we don't want to. It's because sometimes I feel like too much of compositing can also hurt your final result. Yeah. So let's start. Pratik is here. Hi, Pratik. So my throat's already giving up even before starting. Anyways, the first thing we started with is the storyboard, right? And storyboard is like you at this point of time, you actually, you know what, if you're watching this live stream, this can be really good learning on how to create your own animations as well. I think you can ask questions as well, but I'll try to cover it in such a way where if you're making your own animations, how would you deal with the entire process? Basically covering the entire pipeline. So the storyboard, right? At the storyboard, it's everything is kind of vague. You just have an idea with 1 or 2 lines, and 1 or 2 lines because you're making a 10 to 14 seconds of animation. So the idea comprises of only 1 to 2 lines. So there's not much that's happening visually. So you'll have to figure out what's going on. So at the storyboard, initially I used to be like very what can I say? I used to be very blocked or stiff, where I would just draw frames within a square, and I would try to make sense out of it. But recently I discovered that I don't have to do that. I can just keep on drawing a shit ton of frames. I can just keep on drawing, like whatever camera angle, whatever idea, whatever pose I think looks good, I can just keep on drawing them. So even though if you have like 14 seconds of animation, make like 20, 30, 50 frames, just keep on making them, whatever you feel like could potentially be in the animation, right? And from there you start to sort out like what looks good, what doesn't. I think that happens in this storyboard as well. Let's see. Yeah, so here we started with there are no frames. So we started with this. So the basic idea was there would be a kid version doing some random stuff or maybe exercises or something, and there will be adult version doing something, right? So the adult version would look more epic and the kid version would be more goofy and cute. So that was the only idea, and we had to fit that on the music. So the music was that Slava funk that we used. So the idea was when the beat hits, so the transition happens, and then from kid to adult. So that was the only idea. Now we have to make it look cool, and we have to make sense out of it, right? So the first thing that came into mind was these two little sisters of theirs. They are cheering them up, and these guys are flexing. And once the music changes, so they are flexing in the real life like this. But then I was like, it's too short of a thing. Like, not much is happening in the overall animation. It's just two shots, and there is not like a lot of it's not going according to the music. The music is playing, but nothing's changing in the animation. So then what we did is maybe he's playing around, so he's like playing WWE or something. So that's what I was trying to draw here, that he jumped from the sofa and something like that. And then in the end he would do like squat lifting the other guy and stuff like that. But that, as I was drawing it, the idea itself looked like it would not work, so I just scrapped it there. And then I started drawing this like random poses, and I'm like, yeah, this actually makes sense, lifting up their little sisters, and doing some squats or push-ups or whatever. And from there this one came up, and I was like, yeah, this is fine, this looks good. And so this pose need to be transit to the adult version. So the best way would be if he's doing squats, so the other adult version would be doing squats too, but with much higher weights, right? And if this dude is doing push-ups, so his adult version would be doing push-ups. So that was the original idea. But then instead of push-ups, it could be like bench press as well, because the same form. I start to sound like a nerd. I don't want to sound like a nerd, but yeah, that I think this happens when you start going to gym. Anyway, so this was the adult transition, from here to here. And first it was like inverse push-ups. But then I was like, yeah, the problem with the inverse push-up is you can't see the face. And since it's a collaboration, the creator want to show their face, their beautiful face couldn't be seen in this pose. So changed it to that bench press pose that I don't even have it here. I think I have it in the another storyboard. And then this pose was somewhere in my mind that I wanted to make, so I just straight up draw it, and this was already in the head. So there was no confusion here, but there was a lot of like going back and forth here on what to do, what not to do, right? This was also another idea that I had, that one dude would be doing push-ups, another would be curling dumbbells and stuff like that. But then I was like, yeah, maybe with last two shots, have both of them in the animation would create much more impact compared to individual one of them. Now, so what you can see from here is spend some time on your idea, right? Don't just rush it. Don't try to go past it and be like, okay, I'll start the production. I want to draw. Don't be that guy. Put decent amount of effort into making the idea. The idea is important, and the more you churn it, the better it gets, right? So from here we have a second storyboard. I'm missing something here. Maybe the audio. No, audio is here. Yeah, so this is more like an animatic, or you can say a storyboard which is made on the music, right? So the music was already taken from the internet. So then we have to fit the visuals that was made in the previous storyboard on the music to see whether everything's going fine or not. And this is what it came up in the end. So you see, there's one shot that we removed altogether is this one, right? Them posing. And so the idea was here, the idea was that, so first of all, the combined shot, then individual shots of both of them. And then we would have, them posing here, and the same pose would be like copied here. But the beat or the segment was so short, it was like around 7 frames to 12 frames. It's kind of difficult to even register that. So I chucked out the entire this segment, and I'm like, okay, we'll just use this one for transition, because it wouldn't even make sense if we make something and then as a viewer, when you see it, you can't even register, and it's rather irritating that, oh, I didn't even see that, and you have to watch it back, the entire animation, and then you see it for a split second again, and then again it goes away. So it's kind of irritating experience rather than something that kicks in the that brings in the curiosity. Yeah. So this is I think this is animatic, because I try to bring in all this into the drawing itself, that the camera is rotating, the character is revolving around, so all that stuff, like you can see here. And this was fairly easier because there was no acting shot, there were no complicated character movements. It was mostly like simple stuff of them doing something, a single movement. So it's just a single movement. He's squatting, he's pushing up the barbell, he's just curling. So it's very simple movements, right? It's just the camera rotation. So the best way to do such kind of animation would be just have the 3D model, and you can rotate the camera around, so you get like really good volumes. You see what I'm saying? So you get good volumes with 3D animation, and then you can draw over them. But the challenge would be to make all these muscles, and you need to have a good amount of knowledge in anatomy if you want to do that. I didn't have that. I it's not like I don't. So I'm fairly okay with anatomy, but I'm not really expert. I'm not like, you give me a pose and I'll be like, all the muscles would be perfect and stuff. So this bit took me some time to get the muscles right. A lot of hellos by Turismo, Havoc and Karan. Hey, what's up, my bros? So now I'll show you the 3D animation that we did. I mean, this is as far as here, right? Until here, I was the only person who was working on this, So I have a co-animator, Rahil Ghantiwala. He works with me full time, right? So generally what happens is I work on the storyboard, 3D animation and backgrounds, and he takes care of the 2D hand-drawn animation along with the cleanup, coloring and all that stuff. And sometimes he does this, what's that word, compositing. So sometimes he does the compositing if he's free, otherwise if I'm free then I do the compositing. So till the 3D animation I was doing the work here. So this is the 3D animation for the characters, right? Yeah, here. So this was the 3D animation for the first shot. And I should actually write it down. That can help you. Just in case if you guys get confused, like what's going on, or get lost in the process, because it's a fairly, there's a lot of back and forth that happens in the process. There's certain questions in the chat. What's the current topic, sir? So the current topic is I'm just going through the recent project that I finished, and I'm telling you the entire pipeline of how I made it. How to study anatomy for 2D animation. We'll cover this question in the end. By the way, look at this. I'm drawing on my tab, right? So this is not Cintiq. This is Android tablet. I don't want to switch the screen right now because the stream would be disturbed. The stream would lose the screen. But this is Android tab and it works perfectly. So this is maybe this is a nice experience sharing that I can do. Is the camera fine? Is the camera fine? Let me check. Why are you here? Yeah, camera is fine. So what I did is I completely I completely changed from drawing on Cintiq to drawing on this Android tablet. Right, this is Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. Yeah, that's the name. So I once I figured out that okay, I can draw on this one, I replaced my Cintiq with this tab. And one of the reason is, I just need a single cable to attach this to my PC, so I don't have to get like bunch of cables. And it's fairly thin, right? So it doesn't cover that much of space. And I was experimenting. I was like, okay, let's see what happens. Can I actually replace it? And turns out I can actually replace it. So if you find any cheaper Samsung Galaxy Tab, right, I believe you can use it as your primary display tablet for Windows, as well as it comes with Android. So you get Android apps and Android operating system along with it, right? So in the price of buying a Cintiq, you can actually get a tab which has its own operating system, and it can be used as a graphic tablet with Windows or Linux as well. I think it can be used with Mac. I haven't tested it. But the only catch is the screen size. Right, the screen size would be maximum 14 inch. You cannot go beyond that. And for me, this is fine. I don't need that humongous screen where I can just lie down and draw on it. It's this screen size is fine for me. So yeah, this setup works absolutely. This actually slaps. So that was a massive detour. What was I talking about anyways? Yeah, the process. So first of all is the storyboard. Right, so this is storyboard, and then you can start the Animatic. Now this could be done in 2D, that means hand drawn if you are comfortable, or if your project has a lot of like 3D moving elements, then you can directly do it in 3D as well. There is no stopping you. And then comes the 3D rough animation that we are talking about right now. Yeah. So here the idea is to just animate whatever we have in this storyboard and in the Animatic, and this would be made in such a way that we could draw over it, and that's that's the whole idea, to draw over the 3D. So you can see like there will be a bunch of problems here. Like look at this, these two characters are just merging into each other. It doesn't even matter, you know, as far as we get the silhouette fine, we can just draw over them. We can just get the idea of what's going on. Also the keys are really important here. So if you look at the animation, you know, the keys are properly nicely arranged, and these are the keys that goes into the hand-drawn animation as well. So whatever is here, whatever moves here, moves into hand-drawn animation as well. So we don't animate it on Bezier. Bezier means you, what the hell, do you hear that horn, that loud ass horn? Yeah, he's gone now. So Bezier means we don't have animation on each frame. Check this out, like at 2 and 3 there is no animation. There's animation on 4th frame, and then 5th and 6th there is no animation as well. So this is rather we do this rather to optimize the hand-drawn animation workflow, because drawing on every single frame would take us massive amount of time. So the idea is to minimize the number of frames, and wherever the movement is really slow, you could cut down a lot of frames in between frames, and if the movement is faster, you can have like you can just keep on adding frames at 2s or 1s to adjust to that movement. Yeah, so this was the animation, and there are like other shots as well that you can see. 2, 3, 4. I think 5th is the shot that is important with camera animation and stuff. Yeah, so this is the barbell, but if I show the character here, and where's the character? Here's the character, right? And I need to turn off the line art. Yeah, so this is the character animation, right? And along with the camera movement. So you don't see the camera now. Where's the camera? Yeah, this is the camera. So the camera revolves around. Right, so that's what I was saying when I was talking about the animatic. With this kind of stuff, it's really easy for you to figure out what's going on in the 3D in the 3D animation. Now, if you have to draw it in the 2D, you can just trace over it if you can, or if you just want to use it as a reference, you can use it as a reference too. We generally draw over it because that's faster, and it helps controlling the volumes as well. So this was like the entire animation of shot 1, and we have a background along with it. Like if I show you the background, so check this one out. So we got like bunch of models from here and there and set them up entirely. This is the environment. Now generally we try to use stylized environment wherever we can, and we try to have like hand painted textures, or sometimes we draw the entire environment all together, sometimes we use AI, but here the challenge was the camera was rotating. Can I even see it? I don't think so. Yeah, so it was like rotating camera, so the entire background is moving. Now one of the option you could make it happen is have like really long plate like this, right? So there are like bunch of machines here and stuff, and there are AC vents and the pipes going on, and then the the floor. So have like really long plate of background, and then you just scroll through it in the back end behind the character, so you will get a moving camera. But we already spent that time in making another background, which is it here? Is it here in the renders? SH1, I believe. I think it's in SH4. Yeah. Yeah, so we already spent that time into making one of the background, like this one. And this took us like around a day or something, and then we're like, yeah, we can't spend this much of time on every single background, because the background itself will take us like a week just to make all of them, and more than that, because this one is simpler. But when you go to this, it has like so many machines and stuff going on, So it's kind of impossible for us to, finish it in time. So we made the hard decision of keeping this in 3D fully, and we'll try to match the character with the environment. Now there are like two kind of things going on in this animation. One is like the kid version, and one is the adult version. So the idea is, wherever we have the kid version, the backgrounds will be cute and cuddly, and they will have more saturation, right? But if you have like the adult version, so it could be like, and here in the kid version, the background can have line art as well, right? But in the adult version, it could be more hand painted or painterly style, right? And it could be 3D as well, less stylized and more realistic. STYLE. So that was like a few points we have for the background and the character, how to preserve them in their own universe. Because if you have like the adult character and these cute looking backgrounds with a heavy saturation and outlines, they don't go together very well. So this was the idea. So when we looked at this, we're like, yeah, actually, it's going well. Maybe this would work. So we took the decision to just keep the backgrounds in 3D and animate the character. So that's like entire 3D animation, make it for all the shots and stuff. And till here, I think it was third or fourth day of our animation. And after that, we had to start the hand-drawn animation. And that was one of the biggest challenge of this project. I'll show you in a bit. Holy shit, there are a bunch of questions about the Galaxy tab. Was the gym environment in cycles or EV? EV. We tried for cycles, but EV was way faster, and we generally prefer EV for anything. We don't prefer cycles because obviously slow render times. But wherever we use cycles, we use it in a way where we have very low samples, and we try to use a lot of emissions, right? Let me show you one single example. So let's put this light inside the box here, right? Let's make this box bigger, and we'll put one more box inside it. I need to increase the depth, field of view, focal length from 50 to 25, yeah, right, something like this. So let's say you render it in EV, and there's one material which is white, there's another material which would be red, and then you have the light which would be blue, right? So this is EV, and now you have ray tracing on for EV, so this gives you like better results compared to the previous generations of EV. But if you go into the cycles, and if I put the camera here, 1080, 1920, what the hell? Camera, come on camera. Yeah, there. So the render time would be 1 second, 1.6 seconds, right? Fairly low. Now you go into cycles, and obviously it's going to be massive, right? So first of all, you'll have to have, instead of CPU, you'll have to have GPU compute so that it's faster. Now the color is lost. What the hell? The color is lost. EV, we have like orange color here, and in cycles we have this. Yeah, so if you render it now, it's gonna take like shit ton of hours to render it smoothly. So what we do is we go here in the render options, and we decrease the maximum samples to absolutely 1. Yeah. And then we render it. and we make sure that we have the denoise on, so that whatever artifacts we get because of the low sampling, we get them smoothened out by using the denoise. So this took around like from 1.6 to 16.8 seconds, right? It's almost 10 times more. But because we had like such low sampling rate, this was faster. If this was like around 4096 samples, like it was previously mentioned, it would take like ages. And since our background is never too realistic, right? We don't make the kind of backgrounds which are photorealistic. So we don't have to rely on higher samples, and we don't have to rely on complex shaders. We can just play around with very simple, image shaders or emission shaders and principal shaders. We can just play around with those to get like fairly decent result. Like in the background that I had open, like check this one out. This will be a good insight for you guys. So for this background, right, if you look at the materials, it's all just one single color, right? You may not notice the difference, but it's mostly one single color. And if I show you the diffuse, just the diffuse, not the diffuse, what's that thing where I can just see the colors? Diffuse color? Yeah, check this out. So it's mostly one single color, the entire thing, with like a few red stripes here and there, and this one is like few of them are like fully black because they're in the foreground, so you have to make them much more clearer or evident that they are in the foreground. Otherwise most of them are like just flat colors. The difference that you see here in the color is mostly because of the shading, right? And I think I had this another thing applied, which is like every object with the same material applied to it will have slightly different color to it. I think you can see it here. Oh no, I didn't even do that. Yeah, I didn't even do that. It's just one single flat color. That the only reason it looks different is because of the, I think, ray tracing and because of the shading that is being applied. Yeah, so you don't see, notice that, right? And that's what I was saying. We don't have really complicated shaders or materials when it comes to the background. It's mostly flat colors, simple colors. My question is, from where do you get the mesh for all the characters? For this one, for the background, we just scrub through the entire internet. We just scrub or scrape the entire internet. I don't know the exact word for it. Scavenge. We salvage the entire internet. There is some word. I don't know the exact word, but yeah, we go through the internet wherever we could find something, we download it and we'll just put it here, and then we modify the mesh according to our requirement. If we have to make it simple, then we'll make it simple. We generally remove all the materials that comes along with the mesh because we like to keep it simple. Whenever it comes to the shading, the materials or images that you get on the internet that are applied on the 3D model, they are really complicated. They don't look so good. But for the characters, right? For the characters that you see here, let me show you. Where's the character? Where'd the character go? What the hell? Oh, there's the character. So yeah. So this character is, where is it from again? I think, yeah, we took it from Daz 3D. Have you heard of the software name? Yeah. So it's Daz 3D. I don't know how to operate that software. I just took the mesh, exported it along with the shape keys that or the morph targets. So it comes along with the morph target, so you can, it can make expressions and stuff, although we never used it. But yeah, this is the base mesh from Dash 3D, and we just use it. We rigged it in Blender, so this is like Blender Rigify. Just put like basic bones here, do like basic skinning, and again, we don't have to put a lot of effort here, because the primary reason we are using it is only for the base mesh. This is never gonna be in the final renders. The final renders are always gonna be like drawing, we draw over it. So we don't have to do a lot of effort into how the shape looks. For example, look at this fist. This looks absolutely horrible. Right, look at this, like the thumb, this is bad. If you look at any other joint, for example the knee joint, look at this, look at, like, everything just looks ugly. Look at this pen though. What the fuck. But it's fine, because whenever you are drawing, you don't have to see this. You can just avoid it. Actually, you know what, I'll show you how to draw on top of 3D. Let me show you how to draw on top of 3D, because why not? And for drawing, what do we use? Yes, that's right, Blender. We use Blender for drawing. I must have a render of something here. SH5, barbell, LKY2. Yeah. So let's take this pose, the final one. So you take the image, drag on Blender, and if you're looking from the camera, so it just slaps on the camera. Simple as that. You have the grease pencil, go to draw mode, and boom, you can draw. Skrrr. That's right. Easy peasy. Now, the way I draw it is, initially when I started drawing on top of 3D, so what I used to do is I would draw like this, like an absolute noob, like an absolute beginner, like a peasant. Like I don't know how to do stuff, so I would draw like this. And you must be thinking, what's wrong in that? I'll tell you what. God damn, I'm giving you, the best insights that you can find in the industry. I can write it down on a paper and give you that. Nobody will tell you this. Yeah, so I would draw like this, and so far it's maybe fine, but the problem with this approach is I'm sticking too close to the 3D mesh. Alright, so you lose your character in that way. So let's say your character is a bit bulky, and since you're drawing so close to the 3D mesh that your character start to lose its shape. It doesn't look so bulky now. It's like, like look at this forearms. He rather looks skinny. So, may I get the gym background file for reference? You shouldn't have asked for this. Unfortunately, I don't give away my files for now. If we launch a course, then we'll give files along, whatever files are associated with the course. But we can't just hand over the project files. Unfortunately, can't do that. Yeah, so back to the topic. So the previous method was this, right? Where you are drawing too close to the mesh, and turns out you're not actually controlling your character. Your 3D mesh is controlling your character, which is bad. Now what you should do instead is just use it for the reference and make rough drawings on top of it. And you're like, what? Seriously? So it's like I have to do 3D animation, and then I do rough drawings, and then I do final on top of that. Yes, you do that. So what's the point of doing 3D animation? Or maybe there's no point. Maybe you should directly do 2D animation if you can. right? The reason I use 3D animation is because first of all, it helps me plan the entire animation better. I can just plan it really well. With 3D animation, I can have like almost final looking result in the animation. I can see it from the very beginning how the final animation gonna look like, at least in terms of the, the movement, not in terms of colors, of course. So that's where the 3D animation works for me. Now the second thing is, when I draw on top of 3D, I directly clean it up. I whatever rough I'm drawing here, that rough gonna be cleaned up in the single pass, right? In the single pass means I will not make a separate layer. I will not make another layer on top of it to clean it up. I'll directly clean up these strokes, right? So that way it kind of works for me. So let's say this, and then you have we still have time. I was under impression that I'm losing time. So yeah, now another challenge here is the folds of the pajamas. Since if you have drawn a lot of clothes, it would be easier for you, but like you can see, I'm struggling with the pajamas. I'm trying to figure out the folds but not quite getting them right. So here I would, since I'm live streaming right now, I would not do it, but if I was drawing it for the project, I will take few references from Pinterest or something that matches with my character outfit, and I would take those wrinkles or folds from the image and I would copy them here or draw them here, right? Yeah. I'm a bit silent because I'm focused. Yeah, so this time you can see, the volume holds pretty well. So even if you're using 3D, having knowledge of human anatomy and basic construction volumes are important because they'll help you refine your character even better. Yeah, so know that. Now, on top of it, now if you want to clean it up, you can just, not you, but what I do is I directly draw on top of it. And now the old lines, they can just go away. The best part with Blender is, let's say this mouth position is not looking good, so I can just like move those strokes, I can scale them up, reduce the thickness, and it just kind of, just works really well. It's kind of too seamless. That's why we still animate in Blender instead of any other software like Clip Studio Paint, TV Paint, or any other of them like this. Blender just gives too much of freedom when it comes to drawing. So in the end, let's say we made something like this, and you can obviously the character could look better. If this was a real project, I would spend more time on this character to refine it and make it even look better. But since this is a live stream, I could just give it a pass for now. I think, yeah. Here. And now with all these, these lines that are like, with semi transparent or semi opaque lines, you can just put a opacity modifier on top of it and make it uniform opacity, and it goes by 100% opacity. So all these extra lines could just be erased by taking a point eraser and having a key caps on. You can just erase them. We generally do this while drawing. Here I am doing it as an extra step. I don't do it while I'm drawing. While I'm working on the project. While I'm working on the project, I do it as I'm cleaning up the character. So yeah, it start to look like way more lively and way more believable when you have all these construction lines going on in the background. So yeah, don't just trace over the 3D model. Your drawing will still look bad. You will not actually take the advantage of the 3D. You are just like, you take one thing and you are spoiling another thing. That's what is happening. So go ahead and still use construction lines even after 3D. Yeah, so that's how we created all these characters. Now let me open one of this file and I'll show you how our 2D character looks like. This is render, this is 2D animation. So let's say I'm gonna open sh7. Yeah, so here this is what the animation looks like. Alright, so this is like entirely hand drawn. There are 2 grease pencil here, of each one for those characters. And again, for drawing these muscles, I had to take like shit ton of references to actually get them right. Otherwise, they're still not right. I'm not saying they're perfect. There's still room for improvement. But they're at the stage where a layman would not be able to figure out the mistakes of the anatomy. If you call an expert, then yes. But that was our original intention. Whoever watches the video, whoever watches the animation, they are always not anatomy experts, right? The danger is incoming. There's a danger lurking around. Maybe you'll see it. Do you hear that? Yeah, she's gonna be here any minute. Nah, I think she went downstairs. But yeah, she can barge in any second. She can hijack the stream, and it's not even under my control. Do I have layers for this this one? I think we have layers. No, it's just like single line art layer. Yeah, we just like, oh, what the hell? This shouldn't be so dull. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, like I said, I generally do clean up in one single layer, right? The construction lines were here, but as we draw them, we just kept on removing it. And then we have this, black fills, and then we have rim lights. You can't see the rim, but we have the colors. So the black fill and the colors. So this give it a more of a comical look. And then we have hair highlight if there is any. And then we have shadow pass. So there's like minimum amount of shadow that we have, or the one which are possible in a given time. We want to add a lot more shadows, but again, every single shape you add, it's gonna cost you for all the frames. So you'll have to keep it for all those frames. So we'll have to be very selective here. What all shadows do we want to keep, and then the rim lights. So these are the render passes that we have for each character, and here also you see the same thing, right? And the character kind of goes back and forth so that we can maintain that occlusion of the front character. So that's how this animation is made. Now, once this is done, the final compositing and stuff, it goes for the compositing after this. So we send this character render as a separate PNG sequence for the compositing, and background goes as a separate PNG sequence as well. Because this was a moving background, animated background, so it went as a PNG sequence. Otherwise, it would be a single PNG. Now, here I'll show you how the compositing looks like. Damn, I'm running out of time. I think I'm on time actually. I won't have much of a time to answer all the questions, unfortunately. I hope my system won't crash. This 56, I don't want 56, I want 58. Is it in the recents? Can I find it in the recent? 58 comp 2, yeah, there it is. Oh, I moved the file. Come on. Yeah, it's able to link all the files. So let's say we talk about this one, since we have been talking about this shot. So let's talk about this one. So the way it works is you have the character compositions first, which is this one. Alright, so you have these three character compositions, and by compositions I mean there's like within the character you have multiple layers which are which do their multiple stuff. For this is like base character, and then you have the dumbbell. The dumbbell was in 3D, so it just sits on top of character, and all this masking that was done on top of it. So you can bring that image sequence in any animation software, let's say that supports raster editing. For example, Krita is a good option here. If you have TV Paint or Clip Studio Paint, that is a good option too. Otherwise, you can just use open source software like Toon Boom. Sorry, not Toon Boom. Open Toons or Tahoma. So that way we got this masking done, so it sits along with the character pretty nicely. And then you have this tint. This tint will be responsible to match the color of the character with the background. So background is a bit grayish. If you see here, the background is a bit grayish and the character is a bit too saturated. So you apply the tint and then a few gradient layers, something like this, that justifies the light that coming on the top. So there's a dark patch in the bottom and the light coming from the top. And I think that's it. So there was like some light corrections on the background, some tone corrections on the background too. And then was there anything else? Yeah, there was few elements that are moving in the foreground, I believe. Yeah, there were few elements like this one, this pole that was moving in from the front. So they are like sitting here. Again, all of them are PNG sequences, right? So when it comes to compositing, we don't do like shit ton of compositing, like applying hundreds of effects or playing along with like thousands of layers, and you're like, oh no, what is this It's just very basic, very simple, minimal, that looks neat and clean and polished. So it doesn't look like, thing. Our main idea is just to match the animation and the background together so that everything looks like it belongs in a one single world. It doesn't look like, oh, the animation is coming from somewhere else and the background is, somebody else made it. So that's the whole idea of the compositing. We want to do like really complicated compositing as well, where you have like 3D shade, 3D shadows and all that stuff. We used to do that, but first of all, it start to take massive amount of time, and then at times we realize that because of this much of heavy compositing, we can't even see the result properly, like what's going on. So we started to tone it down, and I think this is a good place where we are at right now. This is a good place for the compositing. But yeah, anyways, so you render it and you post it on Instagram, and then you get like, a 40 million views, 100 million views, a billion of likes, and a gazillion comments. And you become rich and famous, and you buy Ferraris, and you buy bungalows, and you move to LA. The life is just fun after that. Actually, nothing happens like that. You post a video and it goes unnoticed on the internet because there's shit ton of content already. Anyways, time to question your answers. Time to answer your questions. Where was I? To save time, I render the VFX scenes in two different layers, shadow in cycles and CGI in EV, and combine them in post process. Cheating? That's not cheating. That's like optimizing your workflow. So one more thing. There are like questions that I get asked multiple times is this cheating drawing over 3D? And since you are using hand drawn and 3D together, wouldn't it be cheating because there are people who put effort into drawing all of that, even the background, even the characters. I would say if you're telling your audience that everything we do is hand drawn and there's nothing going on in the background, and secretly you are using 3D, then it's cheating, of course. If you're open about it, then you just, it's your workflow. Then that's how you wanna do your stuff. That's how you like to work, right? I don't think there's any ethical or moral question here. Similarly with the AI, if you're pretending that everything you're doing is your own creation and there's no machine generation involved, then yeah, you are cheating with your audience, you are cheating with the people who trust your words. But if you're open about it, that yeah, I use AI, and there could be multiple reasons. Maybe you don't want to draw, maybe that is faster, maybe you are on a time crunch, who knows, maybe you're on a budget, so you can't afford to spend that much of time onto the production pipeline, whatever it is. If you are open about your methods, I don't think that's cheating anymore, right? Cheating is when you don't do what you say that I'm doing. Okay, so yeah, that's about the 3D. Can we go all 3D with NPR style, like what the movie made in Blender EV did, who won the Oscar or drawing? Yeah, we can go full NPR. And matter of fact, I used to, I went full NPR in a certain number of my animations. Let's say like this one, like I'm scrolling on a different screen. Wait a minute. So this one is full NPR. Right, this is all 3D. There's not a lot of hand-drawn thing going on in here, except this. These designs that I have made, these are in grease pencil, and the texture paint, those are hand-drawn. Otherwise, everything else is 3D. So you can do that. It's not really difficult, and the only catch here is it takes a lot of time. This animation took me around 2 months to finish. So at the current current moment, or yeah, in current phase of my life, I can't afford to spend that much of time on a single animation. So that's why we are discovering like new methods of how to make it faster. So if I only have animation talent, but I have learned everything on my own and have not studied in any animation academy, then will I be able to work on a studio, or will those people ask for a degree? Nobody will ask for a degree if your work is good enough. Mark me on that. Right? It's just that you have to have like good skills, and they should be able to see that you will do the work, and you are reliable, so you'll not ditch them in the middle of the work, and whatever is being given to you, you complete it. That's what any employer needs. Of course, degrees and all may be required at certain positions, but when it comes to doing the production part, I don't think, it's not about think, but I haven't seen anyone asking for degree in specific. But when there are positions like, client representative or company representative or stuff like this, where you have more of a management role, and you are kind of on a lead position, or where there's certain specific things that you're supposed to do and you can't learn them in the real world, it's better to get a degree for them and apply for that position. So there are positions which demand for degree, but when it comes to making hand-on animation, I don't think you need a degree for that. There's another question. So like, if would we go for the best 2D animation if I fully traditional type of animation? You'll never get full traditional look in Blender. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can never get fully traditional look in Blender. That's true. So anything else? Any other questions? This absolutely go for Blender. I have been working in Blender for past 4 years. Yeah. So yeah, I think there are not like many questions that I feel like need answers. And yeah, there's one thing, Discord. Yeah, we have a Discord. You can find it in the on the Instagram links. Go to my page, and there you have all these links. At the third link, I think, is the Discord channel, so Discord server. So you can join that server. There you can post your work, get feedback from other people, and you can just sit down and draw with the rest of us. I'm there always. I just stream myself whenever I'm working, but there's not like a lot of talking. We just work in silence. So yeah. How can we build teams? That's a kind of broad question. To be honest, you need actually, what a simple answer is, you need money for that, to build teams. Yeah, if you have money, you can make teams, and you need to be a good leader as well. Otherwise, it would be difficult. Anyways, I think that's a good time to end the stream. I hope you guys had a good time as well, and have a good night's sleep too. I'll see you guys again. Bye.